For this soap, my intention was to make a really nice landscape with some green at the bottom and some orange flowers, just because I think orange is a very happy color and I just like orange. It's bright, it's sunny, it's happy. And so this was the start for this soap. Off screen you saw me mixing up some of my colors. Unfortunately, I think this was when my phone updated, so when I tried to go in to record, it did the full screen instead of the proper format that I usually film at. And a lot of it is cut off. But I am trying to lighten up my green color here. I add some titanium dioxide, and then I kind of decide that I don't just want to lighten it, I want a little bit of a swirl in there, a little bit of a titanium dioxide white swirl. Unfortunately, this wasn't very visible in the final result. And I was making two batches of different soap. I made a batch of the landscape soap, and then I made a batch of, I tried the clamshell technique, which didn't, sorry, spoiler alert, but it didn't really work out very well. And it took a long time to do both of these soaps, a landscape and then a clamshell technique. I don't know what I was thinking to try to do them both at once. It took me about 4 hours from start to finish, and I was just tired. So you can see a little bit of the swirly green part here. And one thing I forgot with my landscape was that my batter was a little bit too thin at this point. It really needed to be a little bit thicker, especially for trying to make those precise lines and make the flowers stick out. So I wasn't thinking, and I could have used my funnel pictures instead of these, because this just dropped my batter right on the lines that I wanted to keep straight and distorted them a little bit. And that little cup has soap in it. It's not just mica. Most of the time I mix my micas in there, but I went ahead and added the soap batter to the little cup because I didn't need that much for two little stems on the bottom. I wanted the stems to be a little bit darker than the surrounding green so that it would show up. And like a lot of these landscapes, it's a lot of patience. You need to do it layer by layer, layer by layer, and this is one of the quicker and easier landscapes that I've done. Some of the others are very, very involved, and so I can see why some of these other people would take a long time with making landscape soaps. And this batter specifically needed to be a lot thicker. The orange part, when I poured it in, it just ended up flattening out, and I needed it to be a lot thicker than it was so that it stayed and formed kind of a bit of a circle-y flower shape, like in one of my landscape beach soaps where I made the fluffy clouds. That was batter that was a lot thicker than this is. I think this might have worked out okay if I didn't forget to use my spoon when I poured the layer of sky in here. I just added a little bit more fragrance to, or added some of the fragrance to the sky off screen. I think I added the sky a little bit too harshly, and so it fell from a high place, I guess, from a higher place than it should have, and I forgot to use my spoon to try to gently pour it in, and I realized at that point that the big bucket was not going to work very well for gently putting it in the mold, so I transferred it to a smaller bucket, which is my pitcher. And I couldn't see that other spot behind the mold from where I was. So there, I should have definitely used the spoon because it really distorted the look. I wanted to pour it in the middle and off to the sides, but I just really needed that different kind of pitcher or to push it against the sides. It was a little unfortunate, but I still think it made a happy soap. I'm really happy with the sky color, I'm really happy with the orange color, and I'm really happy with the color of the grass. The colors were exactly what I was thinking. It's just unfortunately that I forgot to use the spoon a little bit too early. And when I was done, I like to tap the soap on the floor to make sure that there aren't any bubbles in it, especially when I've dragged the hanger in there. I've noticed that with the hanger that I have, it's a little textured, and when I don't tap it, there will definitely be bubbles and holes in the final result. So I think that part of the reason that my final soap was distorted was that combination of the pitcher and how I poured it and me tapping the final loaf on the ground and distorting it a little bit more. But it's bubbles or no bubbles. I'd rather just not have bubbles. And I was a little concerned with the final color of the sky because I'm not sure I had used this specific mica before and it looked a little too green. And I thought, oh no, I hope it doesn't end up looking green. But it looks blue in the final soap. And it's been 2 weeks now. So it settled in. I let it gel. I did the cold process, oven process again on this soap, where you just process your soap regularly with lye and oils and mixing until it comes to emulsion or trace. And then when we're done manipulating our soap batter with whatever colors we want or whatever we want to do with our soap, we put it in the oven. Specifically, we have been doing 170 degrees in our oven for 30 minutes, but we just leave the oven closed overnight and we don't really touch it until the following morning. Sometimes not even until afternoon. It depends on what we need. So this soap, I think it stayed until morning, and then I cut it in the morning because it was made in the afternoon. And here I decided to do a bit of a Taiwan swirl. I thought it would work out well with the colors that I chose, and I think I was right. I think it looks really pretty. The orange melts into the white. The blue is hardly visible, unfortunately, but it still looks really pretty, I think. And then, of course, I had to try to clean up a little bit of the sides, save as much of the soap as possible, and then take it away to cook it in the oven. And of course, the cut. I kind of knew that there was something a little not right within the soap. I didn't really expect for it to look like this, though. I really did think that the stems would be visible, and they're not. They just look like little cute swirls at the bottom, which still looks cute. It still looks pretty, but it's not exactly what I was thinking. that I would get. It's still a happy soap, and I'm pleased with it, and I realized that I was probably off camera there. I can't see what I'm doing or where the camera is. The camera is high above me. I actually have to climb up onto a chair to be able to see the screen on the camera, on the phone really. So I had no idea. I was just kind of estimating but thinking, hey, the camera's pointed right at the cutting device, so I should put it closer to the cutting device instead of closer to me so that I can see it. I really wanted to see each bar. It's more for me than for the camera. So yeah, lots of little swirlies on the bottom, which I like, and the sky was pretty much perfect. It was spot on to what I wanted. I wanted an in the pot swirl with the blue and the white, and you can see that the blue definitely changed from the kind of greenish tint it had to what it looks like once the bar has cooked, I guess, technically. But it's been a few weeks, 2-3 weeks since I made this loaf, and the color stayed the same. I did use a jasmine fragrance, which did not accelerate like I thought it was going to accelerate. Usually my floral scents accelerate, and this one did accelerate it with my previous batch, but this time it did not accelerate, and these are very lightly scented soaps. But mission accomplished. Happy landscape soap with wispy clouds. Thank you for watching.